Hello, my name is Isaiah Coan. I am a employee here at the Office of Archaeological Studies, and today we're going to show you a arrow project that is part of our Ancient Lifeway programs. It's a pre-assemblage kit for 3rd grade all the way to 12th grade kids that can actually participate in actually making an arrow, and when they're done they can actually keep the arrow. So this is part of my education program here for the Office of Archaeological Studies, and I'll show you first how I start off and how I make my pre-assemblage arrow kit for the kids. And I'll start off with the with all the pre-pieces that you're gonna have. You're gonna have a 100 piece of sand grit paper, a 220 finisher, and a 2000 sandpaper, and 1 piece of nail filer. Then you're gonna have any kind of fletching you want. This is a pre-assemblage of a 5-inch turkey fletchings that I made. Then a little piece of pencil, then your actual arrowhead. So this arrowhead was specifically made for this arrow, which is a 1.5 inch long and it's a 1/2 inch wide. Then 4 pieces of clear hair bandages or braid bandages, rubber bands. Then 1 piece of long string of sinew, artificial sinew, about 5 feet long, arm length. And any teacher can Xerox a copy of any kind of ruler here. And 1 piece, here's your arrow shaft, and this is made out of pine, and so each piece will have a pre-cut slot for the arrowhead slot right here, and then at the other end you have a pre-slot cut for the the string notch here. And so we'll start off with the sinew, which is this long piece, and this piece is enough where I can split it into 4 pieces here. Let me start here. Oh. Here we go. You can split this into 4 little strings. Nope. Nope. It twisted there. Alright, here's half of it. And out of this you should get 4 pieces at least. So there's 2. And we'll split this piece one more time here. So far we have 2 pieces here. Oh, and I forgot about the Elmer's glue. And here are our 4 pieces, 4 strings for our arrows. And now we'll start off with our arrow shaft with the 100 first and the 220. And so what I'm going to do next is to fit my arrowhead on top here for my slot here. So here's my arrowhead and here's my notch. So I'm going to put it in, and it fits perfectly. Here, there it is. And so what I need to do is get rid of this flat part here, and I had to what they call bevel down so it can fit. And so I'll take my 100 here and I'll groove it down a little here. So there we go. So it looks like that here. Then I'm going to take my 220 grit sandpaper and just give it a nice little touch up. Give it a nice little, and there we go. So that's what I'm looking for, is that there. And then I'll pre-fit my arrowhead in there. And sometimes it won't fit all the way, so you'll take your little sandpaper here and you'll kind of sandpaper it wide enough so you can fit your point. That should be good now. It should fit perfectly in the slot now. There we go. There it is. Just a little ½ inch slot that was cubbed for a point. And that's what I'm looking for, is that right there. And so once we got that, now we can go to the other end and work on the notch. And here I carved a little 1-inch notch from the edge. And then we're going to sandpaper this down a little, but we're going to do our notch first. And so what I'm going to do is groove it in a little. A little bit more. And so what I'm looking for is this right here. Just that shape, just like the other end. And so when we get that, we have the slot and the shape. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of thin this out a little by go back and forth. And there we go, and that's what we're looking for, is that right there. And so now I'll take my little 220 again and touch it up, round it off a little. Alright, and that should look like that there. And then when I'm almost finished, I'll take my fingernail filer and I'm gonna smooth out this rough edge here that you can see, and I'm gonna there we go, and it's all gone. And so now I'm just going to take this edge and flip it around and just sand it down to get rid of the sharp edges. So just twist it while you're filing it so we can get rid of that sharp edge. And there we go, that's our notch. We just did our notch, string notch. And now it's the shaft where I'm going to take my 220, I'm going to put it in my hand, I'm going to smooth it so I can get rid of all the splinters and the rough parts here. There we go. So now it's nice and smooth. Now we're going to touch it up with the 2000, which is going to make it really smooth. All you do is turn it back around, do the other side. And there we go. Then we've got our arrow shaft ready to go, and it's nice and smooth. So the only parts that we have to worry about is about from here to the arrow shaft, because when you're going to shoot the bow, it slides off here. You don't have to worry that much back here. So we got our arrow shaft ready to go, and now we're going to mark down our fletchings with the Xerox the ruler. And I'm going to mark my 1-inch fletching here, which I already cut. Then I'm going to mark another 1 inch from that edge to here to where I'm going to lay my fletchings down. So I'll take one of my 5-inch fletchings, line it up to that line there, and then there's a 1-inch gap between the fletchings here and here. So you'll take it, measure it from that second inch marker. You'll mark 1 inch from there and there, and then you mark it all the way across. So you mark it all the way around with the pencil, or if you have a little pencil in your kit. And so this will give me the area where I'm going to tie down my fletchings, the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to take my arrowhead, which is not that sharp. I'm just going to rough up in between where I mark these, because when I sandpapered it, it made it too smooth, and when I tie the fletchings down, it's just going to slip off. So you're just going to slice it across so your sinew can catch on to the gaps in there. So just quick, pretty fast, and enough to catch with your nails. There you go. And there we go. Then we got all the rough parts. Now this is going to be the most difficult part, is tying down your fletchings, which is the easy part, where you're just going to take all 3 of your fletchings and put them on top of each other like that, and you'll put it next to there. But before you tie anything down, or the strings, you're going to take these clear hair ties and you're going to do a double circle with them, like you're tying your hair. And all you're going to do is put this on there, so it will help you hold the feather on. You do one of the back there, now you do the front. There we go. So you put it on there, and so that gives you an extra hand, so you don't have to hold the fletchings while you're tying it down. So once you get there, you're going to have to space out your fletchings equally here. Now, and I'll start doing it now. There we go. Okay. Hope this one's twisted upside down. You just flip. No worry, it'll come off, and you can just put it back in the. There we go. So now I got it spaced. I'll just take this one back off and put it back on. There we go. There we go. And so it's fletching, it'll hold like that. Then you can take your other fletching and tighten it on. Let me do 3 here, since this one's kind of a. Put that on there, and I'll hold it for you. There you go. Now the other side again. Put it in there. And so there we go. And so now we try to space it out. And so all we're going to do is, I need to look down the side of eye here to spread it out right. So that's what I'm going to do here. Spread this out evenly. Make it straight a little. This one's going to go a little bit more on this side. Alright. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Nice spatial. And when that's done, I can take my first sinew string And I can tie the back first. We start with the back. And we just take the sinew and wrap it around. We don't have to tie a knot yet, just wrap around so it can clamp. Then you can start tying your knots around it. Do about at least 3 times, up and down around it. 3 times, there we go. Then we just let it clamp there a little. And so that's still in place where I hold it. And now I can tie the front part on too. Actually, yes. So take this front part and do the same thing. Just wrap it around. Tie it in a knot. And when you tie it down like that, then you can move it and manipulate the fletching. And so now you can tie it down, pull the top so it can stay flat on the arrow shaft. Alright, there we go. And so what I'm looking at is this. If you guys want a close-up of this, is what I'm looking at here. So all the fletchings and everything should be nice and flat down. And that's what I'm looking at. And now I can start tying my end down here first. You can just keep wrapping if you need to. Wrap all the area that is exposed, that 1-inch area. Then I'm going to double knot it at the end since I don't need that much here. Take a piece of scissor and then just cut off the extra excess of it. You can throw this in the trash or you can use it later on. Now I got the front of the back. So now I'm going to do the same thing as tighten it a little. And so what I'm going to do is kind of clamp it down a little bit hard. And that's when I clamped it so it won't move now. I keep looking and make sure my spacing is still the same. And I'll pull down so it can keep it flat on the arrow shaft. See how it went down. Then once I get that, I can tie it one more time again. And now when I'm done here, if it's clamped and ready to go, you can cover the axis on top of here with the rest of the string and you'll have a lot here. So at the end, keep at least a foot of string at the end, the axis, so we can tie down the fletchings. And I'll show you what I mean here. I'll cover that part. There we go. See, that foot bust string will be about right there. And at the end you'll tie it close to the edge here, a knot with the last of the foot here. And then this is going to be a difficult part. They can use a partner or they can do it themselves. Is now you're going to tie the fletching down. You can either take a pencil or whatever and poke it where you want the string to go through. Open up like this, and you can put your string through it there. And so I'm going to do it freehand with just the string. There we go. Just do it until it goes all the way down. There we go. Then you'll take your thumb and pinch it down where it meets the end of your arrow here. You just wrap it around again and tie it. I do mine twice, then one more again. tight again. Take my scissor again and just cut off the axis. And then when you're done, take your finger and brush it back together. Keep it straight. And so this is what it will look like with the fletchings tied on right. And then now it's time for our arrowhead, which is pretty here. I'm going to make it straight on. So there we go. It should hold down there, and it's nice and straight. Now I'm just going to take my string again, one more, and you're going to take your thumb and just pinch it on here like this to hold it down, and you can wrap around the top first about twice, then you can tie a knot just to clamp it down. See how it clamps down? Then some people do the crisscross, and that's what I'm going to show you here. Down and around above there. There we go. Now I turn and do the other side. There we go. And you can just go around on the bottom. Try to cover up that gap and the crack in there. And I like to use the whole sinew for this. Go about at least 3/4 of an inch down to the point where it won't split. And then I'll go twice around at the top and tie it one more time, and then I'll cut it off there. There we go. Just cut off the extra axis. Then you'll still have one more piece, and that's just an extra in case you mess up or need more material to work with. And this is what our arrow look like when completely done. And then when we're done, I'll take the 220 and just flip it around, and I'll use my nail filer, and I'll take the glue and dab some glue on here. Nope. Just a little bit. Then find a place where you can dry it off the ground. I'll just use one of these books real quick just to show you an example. Just put it on top there like that. The glue, now you're just going to smear it on the back here with the nail filer, and just spread it around the whole thing here. There we go. We'll do the front. Cover this front area pretty good, because this is the one that's going to slide off your hand and the bow. There we go. Flip it around and we do the front. Do the same, cover the whole area where the string is. And there we go. We just let it dry. And after it's dry, and if you want to additional, you can take some color markers and color your arrow if you want to, and you can put your name on it. Then at the end of the arrow program, the kids get to take back their arrow back home. And this is one of the projects that we've been working on, where we try not to have any sharp objects in schools. And so this is the best sharp object, is just probably going to be the arrowhead that you put on in your scissor, which is school safe. And so now you just let your arrowhead and your arrow dry up, and completed your little kids project arrow for the school.